Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'll be working on this Ginseng Ficus, which is a Ficus microcarpa, and it's planted in a Vietnam style 3D printed bonsai pot. I'm styling this smaller ficus to look like its big brother, the Ficus Fancy, trying to get all those nice aerial roots and that at the base of this tree. Right now this tree is growing way too tall and I need to prune it back. I've got the pruners out, so let's begin today's work in the bonsai zone. It's been almost a year since I've done any work to this tree or any serious work to it. I did put it in our bonsai show this fall, and it wasn't because the tree looked spectacular. I was just showing kind of the 3D printed pots. So today I'm going to be looking at all these upright shoots and trying to prune it back to more horizontal branches or leaves that are facing more horizontal, so I can grow it kind of lower and wider. It's getting way too high, this canopy. It needs to be almost as short as possible. My first step with this tree will be to defoliate it. It's really hard to get in here and see what's happening with the branch structure. It's quite dense on the inside of this tree. So the tree looks nice and healthy. I don't think defoliation will be any problem with it. I'll put it in a nice sunny spot afterwards and keep it nice and warm and humid, and it should grow its new leaves in quite quickly. So I'll begin with the defoliation, just removing all the leaves. And that'll allow me to prune the structure. I can see some of the leaves on the interior were getting shaded out and they were kind of turning a yellowish color. So I think this will help all this, that nice structure I want to keep inside the tree here. Getting rid of all these leaves and pruning it back to a nice short tree. It'll help that kind of structure develop. While you're defoliating the tree, if you do notice a dead branch, like a little dried up branch or something, or even a major one, it's best to remove it right away, so later when the tree is totally defoliated, you don't confuse it with a living branch and include it in the styling of your canopy. I've defoliated the tree, and the branch structure was getting very dense. It was hard to get in there to remove all the leaves. But it's finally done, and I'll be glad to sort out that structure once again. I'll rotate the tree around so you can see it from all angles. So here's the right side. You can see some of the carving I did on the roots is healing over and looking more natural now. At the back here I've got some aerial roots. I've got one that comes down around the pot and into the under tray here. I've got one growing through the drainage hole down below. And there's a lot of aerial roots coming down from these trunks. Back to the left side now. And again, you can see the carving is starting to look a little more natural. And back to the front of the tree. I want the structure of this tree to be very low and spreading. So very wide, but very low in height. So anything vertical I'll probably remove. Looking for branches that are fanning outwards, like this one here. I'll probably reduce that branch down to this, so this will be the new leader. Yeah, so anything kind of growing, fanning out from the base of the tree I'll keep, and anything growing more upright I'll either shorten or remove entirely. So here I go. I'll start with this one at the back here. I'll remove the upper part of that branch and keep the part that's flowing outwards. I'm looking for branches I can use as the new leader. There's one way back here. So I'll prune the branch back quite short. There's another branch here I can prune short. And I can remove that whole upper section of this branch. Like that. I'll just clean it up a bit. Like that. So I've got two little stubby branches that are fanning outwards. There's a branch that's pointing towards the inside of the tree. I'll get rid of that. Like that. Now, I'm looking at this main front branch here, and it's getting quite tall. And I've got some nice branches that fan out down lower here. So I could remove that entire top. Here's a close-up of that trunk. So it comes up. I've got a branch that fans out here, one here. And they're fanning out so there's no eye poker branches, so they're not coming kind of straight towards you, poking you in the eye. So they're kind of fanning out each side. So I could reduce that back and maybe even keep this thicker one as a backup. I'll just prune it off shorter here. And I think I will remove that whole upper section. It's just getting too tall. I'm going to come in and just prune it on an angle with my bypass pruners. So here I go. I'll try and come in right here. All right, big cut, here I go. Like that. So that'll leave quite a scar there, but that will heal over as the upper part of this branch develops. I'll just come in and clean up the cut a bit, carving it as a little bit concave, and then it should heal over quite nicely. It'll take a few years, but I'm in no hurry. So that's looking pretty good. Just going to look at it from the front now. I was looking at it from the front, and if I keep this thick upper branch here, I don't need this duplicate one down below. And I think I will keep the thicker upper one and get rid of the thin one. That way, these two branches aren't coming from the same spot on this branch. They're dividing kind of a little more asymmetry to the tree. So there goes that lower branch. I may also there's a nice shoot coming out the bottom of this branch, so I could cut off the upper part of this branch too, and I will do that like that. So now I have 2 leaders coming from one, and they're nice and short and low. There's another branch growing towards the inside of the tree. I'll remove that, cleaning out this inner structure. There's one on the inside here I could remove also. That's gone. Another one here that's crossing. Get rid of that. Now let's look at some of these other branches and see if I can shorten those. Around this side of the tree, I've got this branch that comes up here, and it divides from 1 into 3. So I'll have to remove one of those branches, and I think it'll be the center one. That way I get some movement. And I'll just shorten back the rest of them. So I'll shorten this one to here, and the other one to here. And then I'll get rid of that one in the middle. So I'll come in with my cutters and remove the center one like that. I've got a branch crossing here that needs to be removed. That'll be gone like that. So that's got that branch down nice and low. I've got the branches in the front cleaned up and shortened. So now I'll rotate the tree around, and we've got the back of the tree, and I'll do the same thing back here. I've got a shoot coming out here that I could prune this branch back to. That would make it quite short. So here I go, like that. You can see that shoot there. There's a long shoot here. I'll prune back to here. This one I can prune back to here. There's a branch kind of growing vertically here. I don't think I want that. I think I'm going to take that whole section off the branch. So I'll come in at an angle here and remove this whole part of the branch right here. So here I go, like that. And there's a couple of aerial roots attached to it. I'll have to prune those away or cut them away. Like that. So that gets that branch nice and low and it's fanning out from the center. This branch here, I've got one fanning out here, and there's one down lower. So I could remove that whole top. And I think I'll try just removing it here, but I think it'll still be too high. Maybe not. Prune it back to there. Is that too high? Let's see it from the front. It's about the same height as this one, but it's definitely shorter in this area. There's a dead stub up here I'll remove. I don't think I want this branch here. I don't think I want this vertical one here either. Just prune that back a bit more. Like that. I think that's about all I can do with the styling the upper canopy. Maybe a little cleanup here. Just get this cut a little more flush. Like that. I can fix this cut up here. Cleaning that up a bit. Like that. There's what the tree looks like now. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles again. It's the right side, the back, the left side, and back to the present front. It may not stay as the front. I've got an aerial root at the front here that comes down and kind of crosses in front of the tree. It would look better if it flowed down into the soil. So I think that would probably involve repotting the tree to sort that root out. I could cut it off here. There is some other roots coming down into the soil over this side. I do eventually kind of want a fine network of roots coming down from the trunks. I'll see if I can get that root out of the soil and possibly reposition it. So I'll just, it's coming out quite easily actually. There. And I'll see if I can reposition it now. So I'll gently bend it over and try and get it down into the soil on this side. I may be able to tuck it underneath this one root here. Although maybe not. It may just have to come down like that. And then I'll try and get it into the soil here. Position it along the pot. Like that. That's certainly better than it was. Now, to hold that root down, I would probably need to put a stone on there, which I can do. But I won't do it yet. There's also another aerial root that comes out here and crosses in front of the design. So I'm just going to snip that off. Like that. And hopefully something will grow in its place towards the front here. So it'll subdivide from there and hopefully root into the soil nicely. So that cleans up the roots from the front a bit. These ones look quite good out the side there. Let's go around to this side. I've got an aerial root kind of crossing everything here. That could use some fixing. I'll kind of tuck it into the soil here. If it was a little later in the year, I would do a full repot on this, but it's still pretty dark out and still December. If it was towards the end of January, the sun would be shining in the windows nicely and I'd have no problems repotting it, but this time of the year it's better not to do much repotting. Okay, that helped that root a lot. Now I have this big root that's coming down and going around the pot and down into the tray underneath. The top of this pot is removable. You can see I could take it away, except it's rooted down into the soil there. So that would kind of defeat my purpose of being able to change tops on this pot. It does look kind of cool. It's a nice feature having a root coming down over the edge of your pot and into the ground. And I have one blocking a drainage hole down here. So I have to decide what to do, if I want to cut those, remove them, or keep them. Right now it's at the back of the tree, so you don't really see it too much from the front. You kind of see the roots growing down behind there. I think I'll leave them for now. It's kind of a cool feature. It's subtle, but you know, when you look kind of underneath the pot, you see the roots, and maybe adds a little more natural looking feature to the tree. I should clean this stub up just a little bit here too. Like that. Really windy outside today. It's interesting, at the back of the tree here, I split this big bulbous root into three. So there's a live vein here, one in the center, and one over here. And you can see how this live vein here has just thickened up and really developed well. It just blends in with the root going into the ground really nicely. It's very interesting. I could see maybe in future that one will need subdividing again. It's starting to get quite thick across here. Yeah, we'll see how that develops in the future and make decisions about it then. This Ginseng ficus was sold as a house plant. This was kind of buried in the soil a bit, had this big thick bulbous roots, and usually they graft a different species on the top. And you can see in the top here there's a part that died, and that was the grafted part. So all these shoots are coming up from the root base. You can see how it flows up from the roots. So none of these branches here are the original ones that were grafted to this rootstock. They're all suckers that have come up from the root system itself. I'll show you a shot of the original trunk on the top here. So right in there, if you see kind of a white circle, that is the original trunk from this tree. And it died off. So all these trunks coming off the tree now are from the rootstock. So they're, which is good. I don't like grafted trees. The union between the graft and the scion, you get some funny bulges and they grow at different rates. So I'm not a real big fan of grafting. Yeah, so there's my tree. Looking good, I think. Looks kind of scary. It looks almost like a haunted tree or something. I like it though. I like it. Today's update is my Ficus microcarpa, the one I call fancy, because it has a fancy root base and all the multiple trunks coming up to form the canopy. This tree was defoliated for the club show in fall, and I defoliated it and pruned it back quite hard, some branches, getting it more compact. It was quite tall. And now it's growing all the new leaves in, and you can see in some places on the trunks there's a lot of leaves growing in, a lot of new shoots. So let's have a look at that. Before we look at some of the details, I'll rotate the tree around and you can get a good look at the tree. So here I go. So the root base at the back isn't as nice as the root base at the front. I'll continue working on it, sorting it out. Back to the front. If I zoom in on the tree, you can see some of the details in the upper canopy. All the new shoots coming in. After growing this tree for about 20 years. I feel like I'm just getting started with the branch structure in that. You know, I've been developing the root base and these trunks. And yeah, it's just in the early stages as a bonsai still. I'll have to develop, you know, branches with branch pads, separation between the canopy layers to develop a really nice kind of miniature looking tropical canopy on this tree. So it'll be very exciting over the next, hopefully 20 years, developing the upper part of this structure. I've got the branch structure of my smaller version of my Ficus microcarpa fancy all sorted out today. And if I don't see you before the end of the year, Happy New Year everyone. It'll be an exciting 2020. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.